Welcome back to today's explainer. So, you know that giant, messy mountain of data we fetched with requests and HTTPX? Yeah, today we're finally going to make sense of it using BeautifulSoup. Up until now, we've been heavily focused on just getting the raw content directly from the web. But once you have all that data, what do you actually do with it? Well, by the end of this explainer, you're going to understand exactly what parsing HTML really means, how to easily navigate a web page's structure, and most importantly, how to complete the essential first half of your web scraping workflow. Okay, let's just be real for a second. Trying to extract specific data from a raw string using basic methods is an absolute nightmare. When you use requests to fetch a web page, that .text property, it hands you the entire page's raw HTML as one giant, messy Python string. Now, technically, sure, you could try to extract pieces of information out of that raw string using basic string methods, but doing that is extremely tedious, incredibly fragile, and honestly, completely impractical for any real-world web page. But BeautifulSoup solves this beautifully. It takes that raw HTML string and transforms it into a well-structured, easily navigatable object. Suddenly, you can search for and extract exactly what you need using intuitive, reliable Python code. Here's our roadmap for today. First, taming raw HTML content. Second, understanding the DOM tree. Third, finding and extracting data. Fourth, advanced targeting. And finally, some challenges and best practices. We're picking up right where our requests workflow left off.
All right, Section 1, Taming Raw HTML Content. Let's look at exactly how BeautifulSoup fits into the bigger picture here.
So the crucial takeaway here is this standard two-step workflow. Step 1, you fetch a given page's raw HTML. Step 2, you parse it. Once you've grabbed the library with a quick pip install BeautifulSoup 4, you just import it and create a parsed object. You simply toss in your raw HTML string, the one you got directly from your response text, along with a parser. The most common one to use is html.parser, which actually conveniently comes built right into Python itself. This two-step combo, that is your foundational approach for scraping content from static websites.
Moving on to Section 2, Understanding the DOM tree. Because before we start searching for data, we genuinely need to understand how a web page is actually built underneath the surface. At its core, an HTML document is fundamentally organized as a nested hierarchy of elements, or tags. Your target data is organized hierarchically, kind of like Russian nesting dolls. For example, a div tag might contain several separate paragraph tags, and those paragraphs might contain bold text. This nested structure is called the Document Object Model, or DOM for short, and it's exactly what your web browser uses to properly display a web page.
Section 3, Finding and Extracting Data. Now let's look at how we can intuitively search that DOM tree using our foundational toolkit.
You essentially have two primary commands here. First up, the .find method. This locates the very first element that matches your criteria. So, soup.findh1 will grab the very first heading element it encounters anywhere on that page. Simple, right? On the flip side, .findAll does exactly what it sounds like. It returns every single matching element found throughout the entire page, packaged nicely together as a Python list. You can search by just the tag name or get specific with attributes. For example, if you want to grab every single product container on a page, you'd use .findAll div class equals product to locate all the div elements with product listed as their CSS class. Okay, so once you've successfully located your target element, you actually need to extract the data from it. Using .text is perfect for this. It just hands you the text content, automatically stripping away all those messy HTML tags. But what if you need a link? That's where .get comes in. It cleanly extracts the destination URL straight from the href attribute. It's super efficient. Which brings us to Section 4, Advanced Targeting and Navigation. Let's see how we can build on this for much more precise movement. Look, sometimes chaining together multiple separate .find calls is just way too messy. It gets clunky. Instead, the .select method uses powerful CSS selector syntax to precisely pinpoint deeply nested elements. These CSS selectors use the exact same syntax web developers use for styling. So a string like div.product greater than span.price will locate every single price span nested directly inside a product div. This allows for considerably more precise and honestly much more readable targeting.
Real web pages frequently require you to move between related nearby elements rather than just locating one isolated thing. Think of it exactly like a family tree. BeautifulSoup provides some really convenient properties to navigate this tree. You've got .parent, which gives you the immediate containing element. You've got .children for elements nested directly one level underneath, and then .next sibling gives you the very next element at that exact same nesting level. These let you seamlessly hop around a page's structure in whatever direction your scraping task requires.
Let's bring this all together with a genuinely practical e-commerce example. Just imagine you have a task. Properly extract the name and the price of every single individual product listed directly on a given e-commerce category page.
By combining everything we've covered, you'd systematically execute 4 simple steps. First, you fetch that raw HTML with requests. Second, you parse the content with BeautifulSoup. Third, you map the DOM and locate every single product container using soup.findAll. And finally, you cleanly extract the specific name and price from each container using .find and .text. Honestly, it really is that elegant when it all comes together.
And finally, Section 5, Challenges and Best Practices. Because as incredible as this tool is, we do have to confront the harsh realities of real-world web scraping. Here's the truth. Websites change their HTML structure all the time, sometimes just because a developer had a new idea on a random Tuesday. So always use your browser's built-in developer tools to inspect the page first. Understanding how it's structured before writing a single line of code saves considerable time. Second, prefer using CSS selectors whenever you need to target elements based on several combined conditions at once. It's just so much more concise. And most importantly, armor your code defensively with try and except blocks. You absolutely have to handle those situations where a previously working tag just suddenly goes missing. Now, we do have to talk about a pretty major limitation here. BeautifulSoup is an absolute powerhouse for static HTML. It'll parse whatever raw content it receives perfectly. But its kryptonite? That's dynamic JavaScript. It literally has no built-in ability to run code. So since many modern websites load their content dynamically well after that initial HTML is sent, that data simply won't be in your parsed object. It's basically invisible to BeautifulSoup.
And you know what? That limitation perfectly sets the stage for where we go next. Because your scraper might work flawlessly on static pages today, but how exactly are you going to handle invisible, dynamic JavaScript and massive scale tomorrow? That's something to think about. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and we'll see you next time.